7.
Second.
And Mark Sant.
Mike Paul.
David Grohl.
Sonny Muldowney.
Keith Strauss-Heath,
Representing,
Essex Football Club.
Jason DeRosa representing Trenton Youth Soccer.
Stefano Franciosa representing GPS North Shore.
Jim Shorey representing Triton Youth Lacrosse.
okay, Jim, you wanna come to the
Yeah,
table?
grab it, grab it.
Come sit on the table, come on.
Yeah.
Come on down.
I didn't even see you, I apologize.
Yeah.
All right. How are you doing?
Um,
All right, how you guys doing?
Good.
There's some general conversation to be had, and then go into some specifics. The general stuff, some packets are not complete.
All right, guys, we need to go back to the order we have, so we have to, we have to review the minutes, but as I said before, real quickly, is we've got to finalize the meetings, the information we voted on last month, because of a snafu on my part, so I apologize. We need to re-vote on everything we did last month real quickly, do that as a one bulk thing, the minutes and everything, and then we can then vote on the minutes for this past month. So we need to do the January and the March, February, March meeting.
We need to vote on the minutes from February.
Yep,
So everybody approve them?
yes.
Motion,
I make a motion to move approve the minutes as read previously.
February 6th minutes.
Second.
I gotta find an easier way to shorten this. Shorthand. Okay, motion approved.
All's in favor?
This we can go over after.
Yes.
I think it might be better to go over it after.
What, the last
The
one?
last month's minutes. I think,
Well, that, we haven't voted on that one yet, so I just wanna get the ones we did, all the
Yes.
information. We can discuss all the stuff that was in there that we had voted on, yeah.
we can do that at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's some things I wanna add too before you,
Okay,
so go ahead with yours, but I think we're overlapping each other a little bit.
okay, just sort of the general, some packets are not complete. We got word from people downstairs that it may be payment, it may be insurance, it may be rosters, queries, they need to be complete.
You sent your stuff in, right?
Did.
You brought in a new check?
Not in the check.
Check,
Corey?
No, the check was mailed in. We had 3 that were going through the quarries, that got quarried, cause Mass Youth Soccer requires it. And then the other thing was the insurance.
Yeah.
The insurance that we provided in the fall covers for the full year.
Resubmit it, please.
You wanna resubmit out one?
Yeah.
It's a new season for us.
it's also not our rules, these are rules, cause I know it's a pain in the neck, it's coming from the town. They're telling us that these packets have to be resubmitted every time. So we're just the messenger in this. And they want complete packets every time, they keep them,
Together.
and so they don't reprint stuff out. So, I know it's kind of
Nope,
frustrating.
that'll be fine. Do I need to mail that in, or can I scan it and send it?
You can scan it and.
I think you scan it,
Or
email
drop it
it,
off.
mail it to them, whatever's
Can you
easier.
drop it off, is it possible to drop it off?
Yeah, either in this building?
Yeah, downstairs, she's, where the tax collector is and, right?
Caitlin.
Caitlin.
Um,
Trenton Youth Soccer is gonna drop off what, quarries and,
No, the quarries, I just have to, you want a letter, there's 3 that were still in the process of getting updated, so they got updated, so I just have to send you a letter saying that everybody's quarried.
and Sarah's
everybody's
UCC, the
cord and
administrative
letterhead.
assistant on that.
That will to the
I
front.
believe I did.
I think you,
Yes.
alright, so she should have it.
She should.
So it might be worthwhile to just make a quick call or something to make sure she has them complete,
Confirm it.
cause she doesn't share things with me until they're, I'm sorry. Let me turn this off.
Talking point.
There's it's a little bit of a convoluted system, so we're figuring out, with them getting the packets and us doing the scheduling, so it's a learning curve, and we're trying to figure this out and find a hopefully streamlined more way of doing this. But I don't double check with her all the time, do you have your packets, do you have your packets? She just comes up to me and says it's nearing the end of March, we don't have packets, you have to email them, so that's kinda how it came about. Lacrosse.
Lacrosse is, I got an email saying the check was dropped off, we'll confirm that.
I'll email Bruce to make sure that would happen.
Well, I'll check at this and make sure they received it, and Over the Hill is complete as well.
Excellent.
Okay. Good. Memorial Day, did you get the email from Alice?
Yes.
So you're aware of the timeline that
Yes.
we are all under? Good.
Okay.
Okay. Just a reminder to everybody about the field usage. I know this, Rex had it on everybody's schedule. I don't foresee them happening next week either. I'll be checking in with James Surratt, head of DPW, to figure out when we can open them up as soon as we can without jeopardizing the integrity of the field. Once they are open, we're gonna ask you, we'll be checking them daily to make sure that they stay open. A general rule of thumb is if there's an inch of rain within 24 hours prior to your practice, probably be closed. This is a sensitive time for turf management. This is when a lot of their growth happens, and we don't wanna ruin the fields now and try to repair them over the summer to the fall. Fall is a little bit more forgiving, so they'll have time to recoup. We're gonna ask you, even if we open the fields, if there's standing water in the area, that you avoid that area or don't practice there. And you'll be responsible for the damage. We will do our best to make sure it is in playable condition to the best of our ability, but there might be a corner that for some reason it's saturated. And if, you inspect the field before you use it. If there's problems, call me or anybody on the board and DPW, James Surratt, and leave a message saying this left-hand corner is a mess. There's car tracks all over it. Okay, we know. But if we get there and lacrosse has just been finished and there is a torn up area, we're be coming to you for an explanation. Any problems, you gotta let us know before you assume the responsibility.
Are those numbers available?
Yes, on the website, and I can give you my phone number or my email is the best way, so it's documented. And I can then just email that to everybody. And again, check the website. Mike, where will it be on the website?
The announcement will come up under the rec committee.
Does it get blasted out, right? Doesn't
It's
it?
an announcement that when I go up there and I put it up, it should.
Does it blast out to them?
If you've signed up to receive information on it, you should get it. I'm actually looking as we speak.
Can we do a test?
I have to make sure that they're okay with me doing a test, but if they are,
I signed up, I haven't.
Why don't you say, happy spring, the fields are still closed?
Yes.
So
Some way that if we don't get
Just-
back,
April showers bring close to.
aggravation to schedulers.
Mark, a couple of things. For us, during the week, we need to notify all the teams by around like 2:30.
I usually go through in the morning. I drop my kids off at Triton in the morning, then
Yep.
I
Okay.
swing through, so.
And then I have a contact person for Triton, so I can leave you contact information unless you
Yeah.
plan on just
Or have
using
that
Yeah,
person,
the
And I'm looking
website.
right now, we do not have any access, unless you log in, there is no emails or phone numbers attached to any one of our information. So if they try to click on the information here, it's yours, Celine,
Keep it down.
all it is there's no contact, so,
At one point, no, must have changed it.
Yeah,
Because I asked them to put mine on and it is not. I was the only one that seemed like it was hard to.
all right, more kinks to work out.
so the website, standing water.
but I will do a test, if you don't get, I'll send it out tomorrow. I'll just, so, if you don't get something from the rec committee tomorrow, I'll try to do it sometime before noon, let me know, or let us know, and we'll, just so everybody is sure you're getting something or not.
And also on field closures, for us, on Saturday, which is our game days,
Yeah.
we have to notify our league, the ECYSA, by 6:30 in the morning of that day's field closure.
What we're trying to do is look at Friday. If it's workable Friday and there's no rain in the forecast, we'll go ahead. If it's raining Friday, we will decide that night.
Who was checking the fields last fall?
Alicia,
Alicia?
She was doing the weekend, because I couldn't do I could only do the week.
And I think somebody from Triton Soccer
Had been doing it, yes.
been doing it on the weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
Great return.
Yeah, and Greg was doing, he's able to do it, you know,
Is he still able to do it?
he's
or-
still able to do it, because I think what John, Marcolani,
Yeah.
Marcolini.
Marcolini, he would check it during the weekday, and then Greg would do it on the weekends, because it was at 6:30 in the morning.
So can we leave it that you do weekdays and Greg will do it on the weekends?
It's all up to you guys, and then.
I'm not planning on well, the only thing is I'm gonna run into problems at the end of April when I'm gonna be traveling. The 26th, 27th,
Just
and
let us
28th.
know. Is that acceptable with everybody?
Yeah, I mean, again, as I tried to preface earlier, general rule, once they're open, if it's raining within, an inch, if it's raining like the day before, Saturday, you need to know by 6:30. We will try to determine beforehand, so that night you can make those decisions. If not, again, we may say it's open and it pours overnight. We have to defer to you, because we're all invested here. Because if we chew up the fields, we're the ones playing on it. So we have to sort of defer and see how we can make it happen.
What's his name, last name?
Greg McDonough.
So he'll be the backup to the Friday night.
Yeah, if the fields are still open as of Friday, but it rains Friday into Saturday,
Take a look and.
then Greg can take a walk and see how the fields absorb the water, you know, and he can notify ECYSA that the fields are closed, and then he can notify you that he closed the fields.
Yeah.
Just so everybody's aware, there's, and I'm just on my phone, I presume on the internet as well, there's this thing, this is e-subscribe alerts. Have someone from your group fill in information, and all it is put your email, confirm it, go down the list and check off the recreation committee. For some reason on my phone, it seems to be in 2 different places. Check it off, do the verification at the end, and anything that comes out from rec, you gotta get copied on. Doesn't cost anything, it's quick, easy, painless. I just signed up, so I'm sitting here.
Okay. That's the general stuff. Are we all,
I have a couple things here before we get into the other things.
this is just for general, go ahead.
And I should have brought this up when he was talking about the completion of packets. So I just want to go over a couple things now that I have these in hand. So you both are signing up for Field 4, and nobody signed up for Field 3. So I'm guessing you guys
Well, if
figured that
he-
out.
Yeah.
The way this is,
We'll figure it out.
I'm just, because I finally got these applications and I finally put it in my calendar. And I started, cross-referencing everything. And that was the one thing I did notice, that everybody, you both signed up for the same fields and nobody signed up for, maybe Stephanos, you did 3.
I did 3.
And you didn't do 4, or you did,
I think I did 3 and 4. I can check it for you.
okay.
I think we just did 4, because it's that back corner with you.
You did 4,
Pretty sure I
5,
did 2.
you did 4 in the 2 5s.
Yep.
You did 3, 4, and one of the 5s?
Yes.
So there's still a little bit of, then the 5 is the overlap. No, the 4 is the overlap. So I guess you guys,
We'll figure it out.
okay.
Yeah.
Secondly, and I know that a lot of, this is on our list of things to take care of, because you brought this to my attention. There was a lot of conflicting, not a lot, there was some conflicting information on the website. There were 2 different forms up there. One was the field permit policy, and the other one was the rules and regs. And so the timing of when the applications were due was conflicting. And so we're in the process of reviewing all that to make sure it's not the case.
Not conflicting and works for the schedules, again.
So that we get, because getting a March 3rd, and that wasn't your fault, that was on the website. Getting a March 31st deadline makes no sense for fields that open April 1st. There's just no time to look over the packets. That being said, so we'll put in more detailed dates of when these are due. We know that these aren't gonna be complete when you first submit them, because you're not gonna have your rosters and all that. But the earlier we get these, so that we can get you guys, again, this was our first year scheduling, it was new to us. get you on the radar and start plugging in the calendar. Like this year, I didn't do the calendar till mid-March. I'm a planner, I would have done it in early February if I had started getting the information. That being said as well, we are going to, when we review the field permit policy, we are going to create seasons, so to speak. So the spring season will run such and such a time, and the summer season will run such and such a time, and the fall. And one of the things I noticed, Stephanos, is you applied until July 1st this year to use the fields. And the only reason why I started plugging it in, and then I noticed it was a conflict with Byfield Arts Days. And then I went back to check last year, and the season seemed to end the third week in June.
Yes.
So then I asked the town administrator, and she said, yes, it ends when school ends. And I'm like, okay, so I'm coming back to you saying you can have the fields until the third week in June, when it, I guess, is the unofficial end of the spring season. And we will put that in writing. Does that work okay? I mean, that's what you did last year, it's a
Yeah.
week, okay. The only other thing I saw, I mean, you have these 2 clinics in the summer.
Yep.
To me, it seems like that's a separate season and a separate application. I don't know what was done in the past. She didn't have any paperwork for you last summer on that?
What was done in the past is they asked me if they could raise the price per player to be able to afford what needed to be done up there. And I agreed to it as long as I could make them money in a different way. So in other words, I'm working for free in the summer for the raising price.
And
So those 2 weeks that was given to us years ago was to make up the difference.
And what did they raise it from? Years
I'd have to
ago.
go back to my records. This is a few years back.
Is that something we can work on after this meeting, the summer schedule?
Sure, I just wanted to bring, now that everybody's here in front of us, I wanted to review that. Those are my only points.
Okay. A couple of things more for soccer than lacrosse. Jim, you had a question.
An inquiry from one of our board members, which is, I don't know what. I have very little information about it, I was asked to ask a question, that's all.
Yeah. And it is.
They had inquired about putting up some form of net barrier to keep balls from going from field 1 into the parking lot. This is kind of representative. That's not the exact one, I don't have enough information from them. They're just seeing if that's anything anybody would either object to, deny, if it's even worth looking at.
Going from the field to the parking lot?
Yes.
Because this one's behind the goal.
That's just a
Okay.
picture of the
Well,
system.
they had that over at Triton at the high school where the soccer. Patrick's not here, he would know what I'm talking about. So netting,
I've never been aware of a need for one, so, I was asked to ask about it, ostensibly to keep balls from going into the parking lot.
Is this something that would be used at all practices? And it would,
Okay.
okay.
It would also depend on what I suppose if they came in for a practice, set it up, took it down, took it with them, would that be a problem? Or if they wanna set it up for the year, that's a problem. Then we-
well, I worry about it getting, for you guys, it'll get
Right.
ripped or,
Also, weather and stuff during the other hours, it'd be something that would have to be collapsible, that could be used, taken mobile at that point.
So could I let him know that if it's something temporary, put it up for a practice, a game, and then took it out? Is that okay?
Well, can we get some more information? I assume you guys would be paying for it, at Trenton's lacrosse.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure that's clear before we go too far. Is this the same height as what they have at the high
the
school?
one they have at the high school is more,
Lower?
no, because those
That-
soccer balls go over the net.
That one picture is 10 by 30.
Okay.
Again, that's just a quick screen grab off the internet to give you something to look at.
Okay.
I don't know the exact size, more, is this even feasible to continue the conversation and look into more?
I think if you look into it more, that would be helpful.
Okay.
I just see like, you know, the games are played this way, so some balls are gonna go that way, but not that many. And then is it gonna block access to the fields for people?
Again, big enough, I'll ask him for more refined information and, look for it more to be portable, taken down.
Yeah.
So, before Jeremiah meetings, Jim, I had mentioned regarding like the field locations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think lacrosse is field 1 and field 2,
Yeah.
which is right along the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
If you're at field 1 and field 3, then you're able to slide a little bit away from the parking lot. And it allows that quarter between soccer and lacrosse to each have separate access to the parking lot. I know I mentioned that,
No, and
but
so,
part of, cause field 1 and field 2 makes it narrow but long, so I can understand what you mean by the lacrosse balls. But if you make it wide, you could shift over a little bit and not as many balls make it to the parking lot.
I would actually flip it different. I think lacrosse would be better off in the back, 2 and 4, because then that gives you more parking. You're all up front and lacrosse is just stuffed in the back. But our board of directors does not want to do that. We ran by it, went it through everybody, and at least for this year, they don't want to make that change.
Yeah. Let's
just
back
to bring you
a
up to speed, so you made your request,
Mhm.
we wrote it down. They came in a few meetings later and presented why they didn't want to make the change this year. And so we decided unofficially, that because there wasn't a general consensus and it was such a short timeline, that we would just leave things for the way they are
Yep.
for right now. And then revisit it when people have more time to communicate and hash it out.
And for us, we would, you know, I don't know about GPS, but we would be requesting fields 2 and 4 because the soccer field is bigger than the lacrosse field, and it's perfect for field 2. That's the only location to put a proper sized soccer field, is field 2. That's why we've been trying to,
And
Encourage
that
them.
conflicts with us, because that's also the size for our girls lacrosse field. So,
Girls-
What's the size of the girls
Difference.
lacrosse?
120.
Body, semi-soccer.
Yeah. So this way, everybody has at least a 120, and I suggested before, at the other meeting, that we can, if it's possible, to extend for length, go closer to the parking lot.
I think you can do that with field 3 and 4. You can extend it in length.
Yeah.
The challenge is the width. With the soccer fields, you can't, where they are right now, you can't go any wider.
Yeah.
So I'm asking about the width of,
Yeah, there's when the girls director walked the field, she was clear that the width is what its current width is, makes it the regulations. But anyways, the point being for this year, soccer is gonna have 3, 4, 5A and 5B. My understanding is you're gonna combine 5A and 5B to make it a smaller field. And I had a call into Scott Dooley about other ways to mark, can we make 3, would it make sense to have 3 a little bit bigger? It comes a little bit closer to the downslope, but it does give you a little bit more playing room. Instead of putting the fields exactly where pretty much where they've been every time. So how do we maximize all the field space so you get a little bit bigger field? And the other, in the back, field number 4 would be the 120. That make sense? But anyways,
Okay, so everything's gonna stay
as it was.
status quo just at least
Yeah.
for this year, this season. Okay.
So Jim, thank you. If you could ask lacrosse board to give us more detail. If it's just one panel, how many panels? How would you secure them? Because then, I don't know how stable they are, how
Right,
intrusive
I
they are.
have vague information, so I'll just get more refined information.
That'd be I don't see anything for,
We'll figure out when the field opens, when you call us and say it's open.
and yeah. Have a great season.
Move goals every practice.
Yeah, thank you. As I wrote into the email people, trying to preserve the fields, I know that last year, some areas in front of the soccer goals were worn excessively, and DPW wanted to get in there and repair it before it got worse. We had the space to move it, and then last fall, you went from 3 to 2. We're not gonna have the space in spring to be able to do that. So that's gonna throw off everybody's scheduling, trying to make that work. So help us, and help yourselves, move the goals maybe 10 feet in front so that game time, your goalies are not pacing right, during practice, they're not pacing in the same spot where they're playing. It's gonna wear it down a lot, particularly in the spring. I don't have anything else for lacrosse. Anybody? All right, thanks.
Thank you very much, see you guys.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. There's concern about the fields. We worked out the scheduling, and part of what Celine was addressing earlier, the sooner we get your applications in or notice, we can start putting packages and seeing what's happening. So you can have time to work with your schedulers about the schedule. I know with Over the Hill, they start going out in January, and with the other schedules, ideas are coming in, and we want to be able to help each other maximize the time on the field, so we're not always tripping over each other. The good news it does tell us there's a great need for field space. Some of this is how do we all, for lack of better terms, play together and use the fields. I know last fall we didn't have an over 30 or any adult league. One has come back and asked. We've worked their schedule, it's out there, and that seems to have been resolved. What other issues are out there in terms of scheduling for makeup games?
Can I just back up? Just part of the reason why they were asked not to come back in the fall was our understanding was because of timeliness, not getting off the field in a timely manner, alcohol use, and wear and tear. And when they came back and reapplied, it's a probationary period. It's like, anybody caught drinking or if you don't get off the field on time, that's the end of it, and that was the understanding. The lining and the goals was not even on our radar. We didn't even know.
That was not,
It
it wasn't brought to our attention.
at all, and so it wasn't in anything, it was just a learning curve. We didn't.
Getting off the field was not a challenge. They played their game, I don't know if it was your group or somebody else's group. They finished the game, they walked off, there was never a problem. The problem was that there was not enough hours on the day. In the day, there's not enough hours for everybody. So now you guys are kind of putting everything together so we know each other's schedule. That didn't happen in the past. However, it doesn't solve the problems of not having enough hours on Sundays.
For this spring, right.
Correct.
So that's why we brought you all together, because we realized that.
Okay.
And we don't know what's gonna happen in the fall, but we're trying to, they were the first ones here in December appealing. We knew you guys were on the radar, we didn't know anything about the scheduling, I was just looking at some schedule from last year that was somewhat cryptic to me. And, then you guys started bringing in your applications, and by then it's the 11th hour, they've already scheduled their, everybody's already started making their plans. And so, we realized that. And so now everybody's kind of in this predicament, and we're trying to see how can we just make this season work, just, honor everybody's commitments, and then learn from our mistakes in the future. Not mistakes, but just.
There's no mistakes, it's just trying to accommodate everybody's needs is a challenge. The good news is, not just you three organizations, but about 4 other organizations have asked to use the field. Some of it's for like 2 Saturdays. There's a girls' league that wants to start. The good news is, it tells us that there's a demand for the use of field space. That makes our case stronger to push for additional field space in town. Good news. So there would be more, coming down the pipeline, more space available. Doesn't solve the
It's not
problem.
gonna happen right away, no.
So the question then becomes, okay, our schedules are pretty okay, except for rain days and getting people off. Is that fair to say?
I don't
The
understand
schedule,
rules.
your schedule and over the hill for that field is okay?
Yeah, I mean, I know in the past that there has been, on Sunday games, the league's games are usually 8 o'clock and done by 10. And then there's oftentimes another adult league that would start sometime after that. And maybe that was where the issue lied, was that there was too many adult teams on the Sunday. I mean, traditionally the games start at 8.
There were several that aren't there this year.
So it's in front of everybody.
Schedule.
There's our home
Now,
schedule.
those are championships at the end?
No, those are just every week.
Okay.
I marked in different colors so it's easy to see which Sunday. No problem. And so we understand exactly what the challenge is, because I did explain a bunch of times, and I'm just like you guys, I like to see as much soccer as possible. I just printed out my game schedule for Sunday. Let's say April 2nd, Coach Stefan gets canceled. Look at the traveling time between my games. Tell me, how is it possible for me to schedule another game for makeup? The window is very small.
Yeah.
The logistic, add the other party, the other coach. The window is very small, very small. That's only one coach. It's not a fact. That's why I said it's possible at the end of the season we look at this and say, you know what, they could have played, and I feel terrible about it. But the windows are very small. Look at any given Sunday. Take whichever one you want.
Agreed.
We're not disputing that at all. We're just trying to figure out how we can resolve things for this season. Is there a not a compromise, but I mean,
Well-
if they're off the field,
You're looking for 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 to 10?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm not speaking to this year's schedule, I'm saying in the past that.
I'm not to this schedule, I'm saying, but you're looking for Sundays?
Field number?
No,
Yeah.
I will not speak to what's been put in already, I'm sorry, I'm representing my brother's league, I'm only speaking from the past, that their games often started at 8 on Sundays, and they were out of there, 9, 10,
Yeah,
whatever.
their schedule's online.
Yeah, we
I
put
looked
2
at
and 4,
everybody's.
it doesn't matter, just for the
it's, okay,
referees.
it's 3 or 4 and 5,
Yes.
3?
It doesn't matter because there's no signs on the field, so we tell the referees which one is field 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that's another thing we can update them on too.
Can we just do that now?
Yes,
Yes, the good news is, I went before the Board of Selectmen yesterday, they did approve the sign change. So the signage that says Mentor Field and, and every.
All the organizations that are
Will be able to
represented.
have their own little slat, saying Triton Youth Lacrosse, Triton Youth Soccer, have your own slat, so, that's good news.
But he's also talking about the places on the field, who says, this is field 1, this is field 2, and all that
well,
stuff.
can we even do that with, the mowing and stuff? I think,
was crazy.
I think it would.
There's a sign there as you pull into the parking lot on
Yeah.
the left-hand side that shows, what the field's numbers are.
Yeah, cause I can't say I've seen that in any other fields.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
maybe, but I don't go to a lot of fields, so maybe there are.
Well, many.
Have you seen that?
Sure. They put them on the nets.
Put 'em on the-
Sign that.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
well,
that makes sense.
that's
Yeah.
not-
So if you look, for example, I'm just looking over here,
Was.
at the last week of the season, for example, I have to reschedule games. I have a 10:30 in Mentor, I have a 2:30 Blue Hills Regional, who knows where that is. The third one,
Blue Hills.
Tire Academy at 4:30. My only option over here is an 8 o'clock kickoff in Mentor.
But that seems to be more of a problem with your schedule than everybody else's schedule. I mean, no offense, but, I mean, he's got 3 games scheduled on one day, and you're trying to make a makeup game. It
No,
doesn't-
no, no, I just
doesn't
give
mean
an
that you should-
example
yeah.
about one of my
Oh, yeah, that's
coaches.
rough. That's, I
I'm
would
not
have
gonna
that
talk about
schedule.
other coaches, I'm just putting
Yeah.
myself on the
Yeah.
line over here to show you what the challenge is, because I don't know that is clear.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that schedule. It'd be crazy.
You wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't want that schedule. It's a little too hectic.
Oh,
for
that's
me.
my life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's insane. So Mark, this is what I was trying to explain to you.
Oh, I understand, I
Oh, you
truly
did?
do,
Okay.
I do. And other, you know, I don't have an answer now, and I'm trying to figure out how we can come up with a way to resolve this, whether there is, and all these games have to be played on the field 3?
He has field 2 down here.
He means,
Three, yeah.
No,
When I say 3, the 120 field. And how do we make,
This is when I would grab a whiteboard, sit and draw them out, and see who's got where. Literally just say, okay, here's all their times, then other times, and then sit and see where the openings are and what can be.
you won't know that because the weather's gonna constantly change.
Or, I mean, I'm just saying,
That's
what
why
I
the
mean,
whole
based on
point is
that,
to give people blocks of time that they work around, and,
that's what I'm referring to, so I'm just saying,
okay.
and having literally take a whiteboard, grid it out, and saying, here's, this block right now is reserved for them, this is here, and where can we,
Well, that was, the problem is that when it all didn't
Like,
happen
well, I understand.
until it was too late.
I understand that, what I'm saying now is, I'd like to see, okay, what do we have?
That's why we're gonna put in deadlines of when the applications need to be in, so
Yeah.
that we don't, you know, and not vote on applications until
Till-
all
yeah,
applications
applications
are
are
in. I
in
mean,
and
we're
then-
learning baptism by
Okay.
fire here, so.
The other challenge that we have, and I think I explained, is that the game schedule can change.
yeah.
And it has to be rescheduled by Tuesday of the week that you're playing. You printed out the rules from the league. Because I have a challenge now on April 2nd. With the current situation, by Tuesday, the day before the game. And it's all there, it's on the website, so it's
Yeah.
not making anything up. So as of last Tuesday, yesterday, I had to tell the league, okay, what do we do?
Yeah.
I was asking, what should I do? I never heard back, so I went out and got other fields. You have to continue doing that? Is that how we solve the problem?
Well,
That means that there's no room for me, I mean,
I don't know how your scheduling works, 'cause I know with other sports, particularly here in New England, April, first 2 weeks of April, we've canceled games, we'll make them up in the middle of the week. It's hard. Some people can do that, and some teams can't, I understand.
during the week is impossible in our league. But what I'm saying is, by canceling this week due to the weather,
Yeah.
which is out of our control, I will have to reschedule a bunch of games. You have Stefano's schedule over there, how are you gonna schedule 3 extra games over here, when now my window got closer?
And what we're asking for is, what's it, 5? 5 conflicts, is that what we're at?
No, there are,
5.
no, because some of the, as it stands, there are no conflicts. What's happening is, let's say on the 4/16, Essex is supposed to be playing at our fields at 8 o'clock. And that means that field's not available for Stefanos to make up a game. Before he would have that window, at any time that he had applied for, he could just fill it in. And now we've taken 5 of those weeks that are no longer an option for him. And the other weeks you don't do double headers or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
But even a double header, how would that solve anything? You still gotta find a window that is available for the coach on the side and the coach on the other side, which might very well be coaching 2 or 3 teams as well.
Oh, I understand it, I understand it. in some ways, you know, that window does make things easier, doesn't necessarily guarantee that it would be solved. Yeah, 'cause the Essex Football Club has their makeup game already to be determined. We're looking into other spots. I've reached out to Sean about the high school. I've talked to the town administrator about Newbury Elementary, and that's not, there's concerns about that. We'd have to get goals.
Field size dramatically different too.
Yeah. I've talked to the Y, they have a property off of Weathersfield. We do have a playing field, I haven't been out there yet. It's a bit of a hike from the parking lot to the field. I was supposed to go out this week, yeah.
Weathersfield, the old YMCA or YWCA.
It used to be a 4-H camp, it's in
4-H,
the
I was
corner of
gonna
the,
Oh,
Girl Scout camp.
there's a camp there now.
in Leominster.
The Girl Scout camp. You know, I've been reaching out to different places to see what's available for any of our programs to use. And you can't do any Saturday games.
Occasionally but rarely, because the
But
kids
rare-
play town soccer.
Yeah. And I know with many other sports, students with town, let's play town is your priority, then you're,
We wouldn't we wouldn't put the kids in this situation where they have to make a decision, it's not.
okay. We see the dilemma here. We've known there's a dilemma. We're trying to figure out ways to resolve it. Some of it is, the makeup games is the problem now. Before it was just general scheduling. We've come to terms with that. Now it's a matter of how to deal with the makeup. I will send another email out to Sean and see what, he was supposed to find out Monday, what the story was with his fields.
Well, what about so now that we've said that the season ends the 23rd, do some of those makeup games get tacked on to the end of the season?
Sometimes,
June 23rd?
talking about May, right?
I was talking June.
No.
When
Well,
did
they're
you-
done by,
We're done.
Yeah.
Their last game, they get the finals.
16? June 4th, sorry.
Yeah,
And then we go into 2 weeks of tryouts.
when are your 2 weeks of trials?
Let me pull up the calendar. Give me a second. So immediately after, so,
I mean, so what we're talking is that it might be a 1 or 2 game conflict. We know April 2nd games are gonna be rescheduled. And
Right.
let's hope that by the 16th, you're back, you're on the field. I mean, I guess
16th is also
we're
Easter
asking,
Sunday.
is there a way we can work this out? I mean, and obviously,
So-
not unsympathetic to your scheduling, we were unaware. But, I don't wanna kick them out in the cold either, because they have planned their season. So, we know we're gonna have to reschedule one game, let's hope we don't have to reschedule any more.
it's not one game. If,
One
One day. of
One
games.
day of games
one day of
what
games.
is what I'm saying.
Yes.
And potentially April 8th as well. When do you anticipate the field being open by then?
I don't anticipate.
You mean,
it will be for
the
next
8th or
week.
9th you're talking about?
Well,
Next
no.
week. This
He's
is
saying
coming
the
up.
next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the next two Sundays worth of games.
Yeah, so the
I
2nd
don't
and 9th.
I don't see any possibility this weekend with the forecast and the current condition of the fields.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking snow and, or rain on Friday through Saturday.
Lots
So
of
pretty
it
soon-
too.
Yeah, so that ain't happening this weekend.
So
Yeah,
it
the
could be
drainage.
this weekend and next,
Next
then
week.
April 2nd and potentially April
Ninth.
8th, or April 9th.
Yeah.
That weekend, can't speak for the following weekend. I am not optimistic based on past histories with the field.
Pray for 60 degrees and sunny all week.
Yeah.
It's supposed to rain next week.
Yeah,
Like
awesome.
3 out of the 5 days during the week.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that
Oh.
ties our hands.
Sunday we should
Have
probably.
you guys looked into any of the fields, wow, as a
I,
backup?
I can't speak to that, I'm not.
They haven't,
Yeah.
we know
I'm sure they were looking, I'm sure they were looking through
Yeah.
last fall too, because they were, casting about.
Where did they play last fall?
I couldn't tell you, actually.
Georgetown.
Yeah, well, that's right, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Georgetown.
High school
Yeah.
or the actual field in Georgetown?
I'm not too sure. I was just told Georgetown was where you guys played.
Yeah,
Because one of my board members is like, why aren't they playing back there? Like, why did they move?
yeah, I'm not,
They
I'm
had
not sure of that.
As of right now, the rain's supposed to be on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Awesome.
Mostly cloudy, rain possible on Friday. Saturday, chance of a little AM rain, but the temperatures are all supposed to be in the fifties.
Nice.
Sunday rain and drizzle possible.
If,
Jesus.
if you had a different field, like near Byfield, would you guys use that to kind of resolve?
I think
the-
they'd be open to it. I mean, I'm kind of outside of this, and I hear this is your business, and you represent a lot of kids, but this is, and I'm speaking here now as a town member, so forgive me if I'm stepping over some of my bounds, but it's a town resource, and they're asking for 5 days out of a whole spring season, and it's 2 hours. And I know in my business in Arborist, when I have to plan days into my schedule, that I don't plan anything. So if I get a rain day sometime during the week, I can go, okay, that client who I couldn't get to that day, I can shift to this day. And that's how I have to handle my schedule, because that's my business. They have 2 hours a week, not even all weeks, like 5 weeks out of the next 12. Like, if it were my business, I'm not saying, take the 2 hours out of that schedule, take one game off of that schedule, and you could shift those days around and make up, take one of your slots you already have to do some makeup games at that time. To
The
try to,
reality is I can't control how many games we have. All I can control is where do I,
but how many?
what facility I use.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all I can control.
Yeah.
it's
And we've
very
been here for about
complicated.
10
No,
years
it's
with a lot of
crazy
kids from the town.
Yeah.
No, the GPS scheduling is massive.
I can't, I'm looking at it right now. Trying to make
That's
that's
just this-
crazy.
The complications of it is not just his schedule, but each of the
Everybody,
leagues.
yeah.
It's,
And kids coming from all over.
And, I know, like, for me, cause I looked at it, like, obviously I represent Triton, so we do have a lot of Byfield kids all the way through. But we keep a roster of all the kids that play on different clubs, including GPS. And just for the Byfield kids, the Triton kids in a
Yeah.
sense, I mean, I think we have like 35 with your club.
Yeah.
So we have 35 Byfield kids, and it's, it's important.
Yeah, it is. And then what we're trying to do, our mandate is to maximize the use of this resource. And not everybody's gonna get everything they want. I think the bottom line is, how do we get what people need? Because there's some people not even at the table who we had to turn away. Because we have enough right now. I don't know how to resolve all this right now, Stephanos. I'm reaching out to the school, the Y, trying to find other places.
Well,
Okay.
I do know of a field that can support, a U14 on Sundays.
Are you 14?
A U14 over men's league field, because it was used prior, and that will be in Rowley, at Pine Grove. So if they want to move their field or their games over to Pine Grove,
What process do they have to do that?
You have any idea who the contact regarding this?
Tim Southall.
Kim Southall?
Yeah.
I will throw that out to them.
Obviously, if that's the case, you would be reimbursed.
I will
Refunded. Okay. The other, would that go for GPS as well?
What's that?
Using that field for GPS, for your makeup games?
We would have to get goals over and paint in the lines. I don't know if we cover that, if you guys cover that, who covers it?
Well, Pine Grove would be someone in Raleigh.
What's that?
If it was Pine Grove, it'd be somebody in Raleigh that would have to move.
Well,
I don't think.
that's a secondary
No, sorry,
issue.
it's the same thing.
Because right now, if the Newbury Rec Committee was to talk to this person and see if we could use it, which I don't think we would be able to, because we're town. You might be able to, but then that's only 5 days. I mean, I'm worried about a bigger schedule here. Because it sounds to me that,
Yeah, but it frees up the window, that 2-hour time block. That's what I was trying to
right,
refer
but
to.
if it was available for GPS on every Sunday, that would free up their schedule tremendously. They'd have
But,
Okay.
yeah, but I mean, I can verify, it may not be a big enough field for U14, I can verify. But I'm
Okay.
just saying, we use it for U12.
okay, I'm confused. You're saying it's big
U
enough for
fourteen is when it gets
adults?
to
No.
120. U14 is when it gets to 120, right? When the field gets the
Yeah.
full regulated.
All right, so
Right.
you would need the same size as you would need.
Yes, that's what
Okay,
it
so either one could end up using it.
Either one potentially,
Okay.
yes, I need to make sure, I can make a phone call right now to see if it's big enough for a U14 field.
Okay. I mean, we'll make the phone call now, but yeah, if you could get that information. And Kim is principal?
Kim Suttle's not the principal there.
No.
No, that's neat.
Chris Nealon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who's Kim?
Pine Grove does not own that field.
Oh, is it?
It's town of Rowlett.
Okay, so we contacted him around himself.
I would check with that, because we had the same discussion here in Newbury, about well, the town of Newbury owns the property. I was told that recently that because of the regionalization of the school, that the school committee, is in charge of it, of the property. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no.
Pine Grove's set up a little differently. It's a much larger field, a much further distance, for a pretty far distance from the school. I mean, I don't know how they define their campus, but.
I understand
Yeah.
that, it's just, who has jurisdiction over it?
I just got an email back, it's not big enough for a U14.
Okay. Okay, so let us do some more outreach and see if we can't find more spaces to put somebody and make that happen.
Ryan Gallant's the chair of the Parks and Rec over in Raleigh.
What's that?
Ryan Gallant is the chairman. Tim Sutherland is the vice chair.
I have to, I mean, my season started really, yesterday was the last day I could reschedule for the Sunday. I understand if you're gonna try to place more calls, and I certainly appreciate that, but I need to know how to keep moving forward, because if I have to continue to reschedule games other places, you know, I'm already $1,200 out of pocket for the Sunday. Am I gonna have to, so I appreciate it, but the timing is just, it's tough.
It is, and
Why is this an issue this year and it wasn't an issue last year?
It was an issue last year. It was an issue.
they, for lack of better terms, dealt with it on the field. And it was more complicated last year because
There were more teams.
there were last spring, involved 3 teams of men, all on a Sunday, taking that big window out, as opposed to just this little window. But
You need from what, 8 to 10?
Can we just table that, because I think there's another discussion to have. We're talking about painting the lines and the goals. Did you ever charge before for that,
Before,
before this year?
we never knew that men's leagues were using our equipment,
Okay.
but I did discuss with the board, and our plan is to charge any league. We, we get reimbursed by GPS Club for using our equipment. We have to stay fair for everybody. I think Cameron sent me an email, which I responded and said, here's the price that the board had approved,
And how much is it
$75 per game.
per game? Are you paying $75 per game?
We are paying, yes, in kinds, yes.
Or do you accept in kind?
What's that?
Okay.
Well, they do programs for us.
Okay.
So they do like Triton Skills, and their coaches, which are higher level and licensees, if that's,
Also, some of the goals over there were purchased by me,
Okay.
not by Try New Soccer. The new ones that are down below, the small fields, we bought.
Okay. Are you charging?
No, I don't charge them.
Do you
I'm not
charge
charging.
anybody? Here's the issue.
They can use those goals, they're too small for them.
Okay. There's a couple ways to think about this. I think the easiest way is to put it out there. Charging use of an item on town property can't be done. You can't profit off of using public space.
we're not trying to. We're
But
not,
you're charging $75.
our goals right now are at Wilson Willing because they are broken.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a bill that is going to go through Triton New Soccer. We have new soccer nets
I
that are
understand.
going to, so the use of the equipment is wear and tear. So we're not saying we're trying to profit, we're just trying to say if we paid for it, you know, it's like renting a car. You still have to pay for renting the car because you're using that car.
But that's a great example, because if I have a car and I let you borrow it, you get in an accident, my insurance will cover it. If you rent a car from me, my insurance isn't gonna cover it. That's a different issue. You're saying $75 a game for 5 games this year. How long have you had the goals for?
I can double check.
Okay.
I mean, we have new nets that are coming, you know, and
More than
again,
10
the
years?
goals, what's that?
More than 10 years?
Not a chance.
No.
They don't know for long.
When I was talking to the town manager, there's concern about you charging people to use public property. Because we're not charging you
We're not.
to leave them there. With lacrosse, they leave them there, the Nantucket tournament uses them, there's a couple other people that end up using them. And the question is, if you're leaving them there, and you're not letting everybody use it, or you're charging some people but not charging others, then it becomes problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've never done it before, and all of a sudden this year, it's, you know.
We didn't know that men's leagues were using our equipment. Again, we went through, the board's going through, the board's discussing about, we'll probably have to buy new goals pretty soon. The board's discussing about the new nets all the way through. We try to keep the prices low as possible for all of our players. Because again, our players are, you know, coming from Raleigh, Byfield, Salisbury, so we're sensitive of that fact. So we're going through and we're saying, okay, what is the per price, you know, usage, you know, the expense that we kind of go through? And can we, if we're paying for it through the parents, can we share that expense? Can we share that cost? That's what we're doing.
I find the price of $75 per game exorbitant. Because it's, if you were to take it per diem, about how much it costs per hour, it's excessive. If you look at the number of hours that they've put on it, anybody else uses it. If you figure a net lasts 3 years according to the manufacturer, and you figure out how much you pay for the set of nets, $500, and how many hours you put in it, that's a lot different than asking for $75 for one game, let alone $375 for one season. That's it.
I personally get your point, but I'm gonna make a comment because I'm a little bit more familiar with soccer. Maybe a shot from a 10-year-old and a shot from an adult is quite different.
Oh, agreed. Just like in lacrosse, shot from a girl
Absolutely
or
right.
a boy is different. But I'm trying to understand the rate. I know there's wear and tear, and so there's
And
moving.
again, I'm just, you know, a messenger from the board. I can bring it back to the board. I'm meeting with most of them tomorrow night. They're waiting for my feedback. I can bring it back to the board. Again,
I know from the Essex, from our perspective, we wish there was one player to deal with, there were two players to deal with, you know, as far as like who has the field, who has the goals. So if that's somewhere the town could maybe consider down the road, saying that, you know, that would be awesome to have a single player party present in this discussion. And so that it was also clear, you know, like, this board is clear, you know, it's being recorded and we can watch this. Your board, no offense, isn't necessarily, you know, a public record. And we recognize that if they, you know, they are your goals, that you should be compensated for their care. You know, I don't know that the balls are actually damaged in that more than others. You would know better than I, you would know better than I. And feeling it's probably just sitting out in the sun for 4 months, 5 months out of the year. Is really what degrades and beats the heck out of them. So we're willing to come up with rent, but we kind of also think 75 is too high. But we're, you know.
Well, that's for them to meet,
Yeah,
we're
that's-
not involved in that.
Right, that's kind of,
Well,
that's kind of my point.
my solution, and I know some people may not like it, but I'll put it out there, because usually when you rent a soccer field or a field, it comes with the equipment. And I'm asking the board to think about, we have money for this that's been allocated this year that hasn't been earmarked. And that we work together, and if we were to buy, say, a set of goals and nets right now, that we start taking responsibility for the field. Because if, you know, if it's another group that has equipment on, they could literally just pick it up and move it. And nobody gets to play until they bring it back, pain in the neck. Although, you know, well, let me put it this way.
The whole soccer team picks up the ball and runs him over the trailer, plugs one shot.
In my conversation with the athletic director, there's a likelihood that I could get goals for the weekend. And I know a person who owns a company that would move it. So yeah, I could get goals there for Saturday and Sunday. And they would pick it up and bring it back to the high school. That doesn't do anybody good during the week. It doesn't do the goals good because they're getting moved all the time. So the idea is considering making the transition where we buy, I know in other towns, they own the equipment. And it makes liability issues a lot easier, but it's theirs. So if we want to have a clinic during the summer, we don't have to worry about using your goal. You don't have to say, oh, can we use your goal? And, oh, they're getting repaired, we can't do it. We don't have to schedule. I don't know how fast we could, if the board was to decide that, to get it. And it cost about $3,200 for the 4-inch pipe, which is what's standard soccer teams use at the professional length. It would be the same quick stop. Is that what you use? Quick
goals.
Quick goals. What are people on the board's thought about that?
I'm not prepared to run out and buy goals and start a whole maintenance thing without researching it a little more thoroughly.
I like the idea of it, but I agree with Celine. I think we just need to make sure we're pricing it out and getting it done.
Not necessarily pricing it out.
But also make
I'm worried
sure-
about we rent fields.
We still don't know if we have the field house done. We don't know if we have all that, so
Well,
until that gets
But even
resolved.
that, we are in the business of renting fields, not lacrosse nets, soccer nets.
But I agree with Mark to a point. When you get that would take, if you're getting a facility, you're getting the facility and the
So then
equipment's
we
there.
take the storage in the field house, and there's no room for the users to use that, because we have to store
No,
our own
because they'll be
equipment.
down the base, down the,
Right, that's what I'm saying. So that would
The
be the
goals are
trade-off.
currently, you take the nets off, and in the past, they were brought down, turned upside down, chained together so nobody can use them. We're accepting a certain level of responsibility where they're stored now, because things can happen. The nets would be brought in.
So then who gets to use our nets and who doesn't get to use our
We
nets?
rent the
And then are
fields.
they gonna wanna use our nets, and then are we gonna have to buy more nets, and then we're
If I
gonna have to
may.
raise the price?
Anytime you rent a field, I rent a lot of fields all the time, you get the field and it comes with the goals.
Yeah.
So I can understand, I mean, what are they renting, grass?
Well,
It's
I'm
gotta
just
be
going by what was done in the,
I know, I agree with you 100%, I
because
see
then
your
we're
point.
gonna be buying lacrosse nets.
I'm just telling you what, I mean, if you're going out there and spending $150 to rent a field for a game,
you don't want to worry about bringing that along with you.
yeah, it comes with the nets.
I mean,
It comes with the goals.
lacrosse nets at least would make sense because they're not correct me if I'm wrong, they're not anywhere near as big as a regular soccer goal,
You
so.
can load 30 onto a trailer, and not as opposed to one or
Yeah.
two.
So that's the difference, so. But it is a big investment on that part, it's something we need to make sure
It-
we have and stuff.
The investment is again.
Well, and you have to look, so what are we, and that's why I'm not ready to move, I mean, are we buying just one set and only some people can use it, or do we have to
No, we're
buy
doing,
them
no,
for
we do
all
it
of
all,
them?
we do
And-
it all.
Well,
Well,
there's
we don't
two-
have the money for that,
Yes,
so
we do, we do.
to buy, all right, well,
There may
I,
be some
it's
use
April,
cases
and
in
I
there.
don't feel that, spending.
No, and that's the thing, I said, I think we
For
need to,
July.
because if I was gonna use that additional money, I'd be putting it towards the courts, where we already have 10 grand put aside. That's a different story.
So, the big thing, like for us, and the big thing for us would just the town. Obviously, for us, like right now, we're going through it right now, where we're fixing up our goals.
Right.
They're literally at Wilson's welding, getting welded, because some of them got broken during the winter time. No big deal, it's an expense we have to cover.
They do-
We are getting, we do have new nets coming in.
New sandbags.
Sandbags, and we pay literally about $6,000 per season just to paint the fields,
Mhm.
which is expensive.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
Well, that's $6,000 a year, correct,
What, no, per season.
per season?
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
6250 was what we paid. I have my checkbook, I can even double check. So
I want
it's,
that job.
so, but the thing for us is that we go through and we get all our expenses, we tally it out, we find our head count, and we kinda go through to make sure everything's a break even, so we don't profit from the parents when we charge for the kids all the way through. So we have all this, and, you know, right, wrong, and different from some of our board members, I'm just being upfront, is some of the board members like, okay, if, you know, if other leagues are always using our fields and they're coming to you and you guys are charging them, it doesn't help us because we still have 6,500 per season, the maintenance of the goals all the way through. So some of, you know, some of our, you know, board members is like, okay, if it's, you know, Joe, you know, if it's, you know, dad and his son shooting on net, go for it, have fun, because that's the spirit of the game. If it's a league that is getting money from their players in order to, you know, pay for you guys, pay for the league and all the way through, it's, you know, we're charging the parents so much for painting the fields, you know,
Sure, the
all the way
expense, sure.
through. And that's the
Totally
basis of
sensible.
where they're coming from.
You're just using the money that instead of looking up front saying you're getting money for the nets and the lining, you're taking that money that you're getting and you're helping to maintain the cost of your players.
That's
No,
what business
I don't think
does.
he's subsidizing anything, he's saying that, he's
No.
feeling that that's the cost roughly
Yeah.
per
Yeah,
game played is.
Yeah, because like, I understand the 500, I'm just saying like for us, it's like we have to pay for lining the fields. That money in the fields is gonna be used by your team. We're not asking for, you know, paying money, it's just, okay, we're the bad luck people because we're the ones that schedule for the lining of the fields. And
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
else uses it.
I can see the
And that's why,
desire to pass down some of the cost
that's
to
all.
other users.
We're
So
not
my-
trying to profit from this.
Well,
We're just, we're going through and, you know, I mean, you know, when the board said 75, I'm like, ugh, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, for 5 games, I don't even know what that comes up to.
Yeah, that's it,
$15 a pop.
let me put it this way, it's almost as much as they are for the field itself.
Yeah.
Cause the way I would flip it around is if we were ever to decide to do that, do we raise our prices to an extra $75 per game? I think that'd be excessive for anybody. If we were to say, all right, well, we're at the fields at this price, oh, by the way, you know, I know some businesses do this, oh, by the way, if you want the goals, it's gonna cost you more. $75. So that, if the
and
shoe
we're
was on the
not-
other foot, is that gonna work? But again, I
And we're not trying to, you know what I mean? Hypothetically, I'm not just saying this, but, you know, with all that, and it's just the equipment use, like hypothetically, like with the player fees that we pay Newbury. You know, if you go through and say, okay, you know, hey, just, we'll give you a credit of $200 per season. And now the goals are ours to be able to allow, you know, the men's league to use. Then that credit is a little less we pay you, which, you know, kind of balances out where we don't have to charge more. I'm just saying, there's options, it's just,
I hear that.
That's all.
On a side note, I do want to remind you that we will be able to pay for one of the initial lines with Scott. So, 'cause last year, when you had to move from 3 to 2, because of the circumstances, we, as a board, decided that we would credit you, and we're gonna paying, for the relining, so we do owe you that.
Yep.
And we'll take care of that with Scott. I gotta call him, to him, and you can remind him to send for one field a bill to us. 'Cause that's prior to, I don't think you were here, Dave, but we had agreed. So take care of that. I don't know if we, it would be a question to talk to a town administrator or legal, if that would be a possibility. If it's X number of dollars, I don't know what the number is you have, get back to us, we could look into that. But the idea I wanna throw out to the board is, yes, we are renting the fields, but my mental model of a recreation group is when you rent facilities, certain things come with it. And that most of the rec departments that I've dealt with, they even own some of the basketballs. You know, they have the extra nets for the basketball hoop, they have the tennis nets, and they have whatever's needed, and they come up with a plan.
So, and you're just gonna pay for that out of the budget?
We
Or does it get filtered back down to the users?
could do either.
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is that
our
we
budget,
would pay to maintain the field.
I think
so-
that would probably be the case where if we do new nets and goals, then we have to rethink user fees. to
so can we kind of,
cover.
this year as well as for 17, we get allocated a certain amount of money. Historically, the rec committee has not used any of that money. It goes back to the town account. We don't save it, doesn't go, we don't accrue it and get $100,000 or $200,000 5 years from now. We get a certain amount, that's all we get. No matter how much money we raise, whatever we get allotted, if there's a certain.
That's new though. That's since the town took over in the last year. It's the first year we've been allocated money.
That's not my understanding. John explained something else to me, and I could be wrong. But right now, we have, and everybody should have received that email about how much we have been allocated, how much has been spent. We have about 12,000 left, excess of 12,000 left for maintenance for the rest of the year. Our new budget will start July 1st. And if our town, we've been appropriated 50,000 for the new year, that include our maintenance supplies and any other incidentals that we want to spend. That's why I've suggested that we look at a budget and a 5-year plan, what we want to be doing. So we can allocate our resources how they should be. And not just buy here, buy there. And if we had an agreement, if we were to start off with 2, a set, we'd have a set. As I said, they cost about $3,000. They come with the nets last anywhere from 2 years to 5 years. 3 years is what they typically ask you to replace it, and they're about $400 for new nets. They clip right on.
So let's say we bought 2 goals and we have 1 field, so
Yeah.
who gets to use the town, you know?
What we would do is we'd go back to the other, and say, let everybody use what you have, we have new ones here.
Yeah.
And we just pretend that they're all the responsibility of the town. Although technically you own them and you own them, but from the general public, everything is the same.
So then it would just come down to a lighting issue on the fields.
I think we
That
could
sounds
work
like
that out.
makes sense.
You know, if we're, you know, we start looking at, I mean, the lining cost per field, about 300,
What's that?
300 to do the initial lining,
Honestly, maybe every 10 days or so.
depending on weather.
We,
And it's gotta be done, what's that?
Why are we doing that?
It's consuming. The DPW doesn't wanna get involved in that, they're overstretched as it is.
Well, they're making money out of it, so I was just curious, just trying to think.
And it can't be done before they mow, which we asked them to do, on Thursday, preferably Friday. So the liners can go out, and do it on Friday evening or Saturday, early Saturday morning, before Friday evening.
Scott does a
rains-
great job with the timing, I have to say this. He's fantastic. He's always there when you don't see him, and he gets it done when you need it.
He's out
Yeah.
there bright and early, first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
I
So
don't think
they-
that works because the grass sometimes is wet.
But
How does it
I'm
work?
sure it depends on the weather, I'm sure it
Yeah,
depends on the
he's-
weather. I've seen him out there bright and early in the
It's
morning.
fantastic.
I was thinking, if we're talking the Nets, why not get the line too, and get this all, let these guys come in and do their jobs, and we take care of the
Well,
whole thing.
like I said, they should be worried about one thing, and that's coaching.
Mhm.
And if we take this small steps, I don't know if we are ready to do all the lining for soccer and lacrosse, but if we start off with goals, and we have an agreement that going forward, we start adding to our menagerie of equipment, as most rec departments do, and then start picking things up, fees might go up.
But you're saving the money at the other end there that you're not spending. You wouldn't be spending money on goals, you wouldn't spend money on the lining if we're absorbing it on our end. So maybe it'd be a wash. I don't think it'd be, my recommendation is we finish this season out, the spring season, discuss it, and if we're gonna do anything, we need to make purchases over the summer and get things ready for September.
But doesn't that involve the fiscal year?
That takes money from next
We'd
year.
probably, we'd have to buy before the end of the season to use our money.
Yeah.
So we could discuss it over the next couple of months, purchase everything, but with the intent of starting, putting them in place with that, including the fees and everything for September.
September.
Because at this point, as we've all been talking about, we're 4 days from the end of the season, and granted, the field's not ready, but technically, we're on the clock.
Yes.
I don't know what your guys' feelings of that are. I don't think trying to get it done in the next couple of weeks is prudent. I think we should, especially since you just laid out the money to finish off the season, so work getting done on the equipment.
Jason, your thoughts?
I mean, TYSA's been paying for the painting. We'll pay for the painting. You know, if you guys are grumbling about, like the use of the goals, whatever, I mean, use the goals.
And we're talking about
No,
The
just-
future.
taking all this off you guys.
Yeah, in the future,
Moving down that direction, again, I'm looking, focusing more on the equipment. So that if we want to host a clinic up there, it's our equipment, and we don't have to worry about, geez, can we borrow it? No, I'm using, no, they need to be repaired.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with the lines. If we don't do the lines at a time, then it's like, okay, we gotta wait till these guys come down and do it.
It's pretty, if you go in the fields now, the blue lines from the fall are still there.
I'm just saying, if we're gonna do this, we should do this entirely. But again, I'm not talking about for April for the season, I'm talking for the fall.
Yeah.
Purchasing, we can discuss on our own and try to get done before the end of July, before
Yep.
July once we get the money, use this year's money.
So can you guys come to an agreement on a rental rate? I know you have to go before your board.
I got word from the co-captains that they were comfortable with paying 50 per game. 75, I think, on top of, you know, referees' fees and the rental fees. I think they was starting to really price them out, but they were pretty comfortable paying 50. If you go, if your board's okay with that, they're happy to. I don't know what the solution is for now.
Let me touch base with the board.
You guys,
Okay,
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
guys.
I'll let you guys know.
Thank you.
alright, so we're square with the schedule, I will keep reaching, Stefan, I don't know, and obviously I don't have an answer, I'm still trying to figure this out with more.
Can't start your games at 7?
I'm not sure about that, but I could talk to them and approach and say.
One or two games might be able to be scheduled, some of it's not what they want, it's getting the officials there.
Yeah.
That's
This is there, it's them getting up, you know, some of the guys are coming from like Malden, Medford area, so it's getting up at 6 o'clock on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I drive to Medford every day, so needless to say, it's
Yeah.
not.
No.
It's just a matter of, a lot of times they'll try to schedule the officials in like 3 consecutive games, so they stay in an area, so they're not,
Well, regardless of whether it's 7 or 8, that's not the case here.
Yeah.
So,
does anybody have any questions?
Other than the schedule needing to be done.
Yeah, alright, well, Jason, are you good?
Yep.
Content?
I'm the same way, I'm in the same
I know.
spot I was when we came in. I still don't know what I'm gonna do for next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is my deadline for rescheduling. I was hoping to hear a plan of action.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I know it's tough,
Yeah.
but again, I'm $1,200 under because I didn't know what to do. Now next week comes around, I'm gonna be now $1,200 under? Don't know. Is that coming out of my contribution for players' fee?
Probably not.
Yeah.
We can't, I mean, it's in the rules and regs as, you know, we can't. It's up to you to make arrangements to worry about rain delays and stuff like that. We just rent out the fields. It's, you know, same thing with lacrosse, same thing with soccer, football.
100% right. When it rains, it's my problem. But again, we're talking about availability.
Yeah.
And if I have to look somewhere else and I have to pay for it, it's okay. But I need you guys to tell me that's what I need to do, because then that's gonna be my spring season. I'm going way over budget for facilities. It is what it is, but I need to know that that's the plan,
Hey, what are you gonna
because
do?
then for next year, I might have to make adjustments. I can't come in and go over budget again next year.
Understood.
If, hypothetically, if you guys are thinking about buying another set of goals, and if the size of the lacrosse field's the same as a soccer field, can you just double line the lacrosse field to use it as an overflow?
If,
Shoot.
I don't think lacrosse would be happy with that, but again,
No, I'm just.
we have to look at their schedule. Again, I don't get a sense from the rest of the board that they would wanna make that purchase. But in theory, we're renting space. And I don't know how, one argument I could have is say, yeah, it's possible, another part of me says, no. And it'd be a conversation that we need to have as a board. Do we utilize the fields in, with great intensity, or do we say, this is for lacrosse, or the other, and the flip side, it's you're away or you're not away. And some of it has to do with our whole, the system that we inherited, in terms of how much time people get to use on a field for whatever the price is. And that's numbers that I'm trying to crunch and say, you get X number of hours, but we're only charging 35, or somebody gets less hours because they can't fill the space up. Does that make sense to everybody? It's like, look at Pop Warner, hypothetically they're paying 35, but they're not using it as many days and hours as a soccer team would, because of the timing, and they don't use most of the field. there's a bigger question of cost per field. But I hear your suggestion, is there a way to make it happen once or twice maybe? Buying or borrowing goals and getting another game. Anybody else's thoughts on that?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm sitting there trying to figure out the schedule, and if your guys are saying this was the same issue last year, whether we have a men's league and the GPS and trying to find out what can be done. I just, personally, I feel bad for the stuff that was here, because if it was weather, it's in the contract, that's no questions. But if it's because of a scheduling thing that we did, that we may need to go back and adjust.
But it's not a scheduling problem now, it's a scheduling problem if weather is the issue.
If weather's the issue.
When it is an
Yeah.
issue, it's when it's an issue, and we're looking at a start. And,
And we're just hoping to be able to find some common ground here today.
Well, you figure you're losing this weekend, most likely the 9th, and the weekend after that is Easter, so now you have 3 weeks in April down. And technically, the weekend after that is the second half of school vacation.
do you play on Easter weekend?
No, they're off.
Mr. Sunday, yeah, that's happening to be.
No, 'cause some towns don't, but in some leagues,
Sure.
the leagues do. All right,
If I speak as a town program, if I would kind of go through and just say, okay, we've been lining, we almost want to continue lining, because we can control our expense. Because my biggest fear is if you guys go through and you start, doing the lining, buying the goals all the way through.
Starting when though? You're talking now or you're talking?
No,
Going
I'm just
forward.
saying, just
Going
in the
forward.
future.
Okay.
If you start going through and you say, yep, here's your per player price with paying Mass Youth Soccer and East YSA
Yeah.
fees all the way through, it's gonna be driving all those kids from Byfield and all like that away because the parents can't afford it.
agreed.
At least
And we
this
can't have
way,
that.
at least this way, we can afford, if we have control over the expenses, like the lining and all like that, which we have done before,
Yeah.
we're able to kind of go through and be like, okay, we can forecast our expense for next season, and if price that paint's increasing, well, we can figure out ways of still getting the lines painted, but at a cheaper price.
Well, again, lacrosse does they have Scott Doobie do the initial layout, and there's a set price for that, and then the lacrosse team will have a parent or two line it before. It not only controls costs, it gets parents involved, but it gets done. If something should happen and it's contracted out, it may not get done before the game, and it doesn't do you any good to have it lined on Monday if the games are Saturday and Sunday. There's no lines for the game, so I agree with you there.
So, yeah, we would like to kind of control our own expenses so we can control our player dues.
I think that, like you're saying, eventually we should have control of everything, goals, lines, so people are coming to use our fields.
And here's what you got, here's a 120 here, 120 here,
I mean, that's what I think the ultimate goal should be.
It should be, because
Yeah.
they should only have to worry about one thing, coming and playing and coaching the kids.
Yeah, because right now it's kind of like.
That's what I'd like to
We
do.
got into this.
But one good thing is,
Yeah.
as you're saying though, if we've got an idea that the estimate's about 13 grand or 12.5 for the year, am I correct with that statement? If we do it less, we save it money. If it's more, then we know we can just sublet it out if we need to. We've got our fixed price, so if we can do better, it certainly then would help because it would reduce their costs.
Yeah, reduce your costs though.
We're not looking to do this and make it more expensive, we're trying to do it at the same, whether it's sublet to you guys, or to find a way to do it cheaper so we can all save some money and keep this, the expense on it as manageable for you guys. We don't want to increase that number for you guys. The last thing we wanna do is screw that up.
One thing to keep in mind is a lot of these other towns have a full-time person running
Yes,
the recreation,
facilities and all that stuff.
which we do not.
I mean, even if we got to the point where we did the initial line, so we could say, here's where the fields are, and then your responsibility is to line it afterwards. I think if we worked with all the field line, I mean, trying to think of how to reduce, how to provide the best product for our users without going excessively either one direction. Charging excessive rates, that doesn't do you any good because you won't use fields. Spending so much money that we can't, we don't have money to do other things, to find that balance. But my mental model, and I'm asking the rest of the board to consider, is looking at a gradual step into acquiring the materials and lining, or if not that, just the materials here so that we can rent it out without having to have any worries. We can look at, you know, the basketball courts. Again, we need to figure out what we want to do there. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to discuss it.
Okay.
We still have the scheduling issue.
Yeah, that's,
So we need to resolve.
that's been the biggest thing, we need, because one, as Stefan said, it's the biggest thing to him right now is he's got to figure out by Tuesday. Yes, we're meeting between now and Monday, we're meeting Monday again, but you won't be here. Oh, not just saying, but you'll be down one person, so, hopefully Patrick's here and we can get more people's input and stuff, so.
So Steph, if there was a rain date on in May, how would you reschedule that?
Same way,
Okay.
same way. See whenever you can, reach out to the coach, see whenever you can. Hopefully there's a good time, but realistically, because of the distance, you're taking away the whole week. It's gotta be Saturday or Sunday. Again, the Saturday you have the town soccer, so
Okay.
it's back to the same thing, stuff.
Okay.
And you're done on the 17th of May, that's the last day of your schedules,
As of now, yeah.
or the 21st, excuse me. I was reading the 17th, the date, the way it was just wrong. So you're done the 21st. Weekend to that's Memorial Day, then you
After
get
there's
to June.
Memorial Day,
Yeah.
and then you're going to try out, so
Yeah.
you don't even have much time after the season's over. It's insane.
Memorial Day is the big lacrosse tournament too, right?
Yes.
Not this.
No.
Not this year.
Yeah.
Who's
We're
good?
we're
You got
supposed to be,
it. You got
yeah. Get the paperwork in. All right, so at this stage, for this week, obviously, we can't do anything in terms of projecting that there's not gonna be any games on the second. I will continue reaching out, I'll talk to you about alternative sites and such, and try to get some.
See.
We'll make calls and stuff.
To check to Raleigh to see what they had
No,
too.
Raleigh
No,
said that
Raleigh-
is-
Rally's not big enough.
Yeah, and, you know, I'll throw it out there and see if we can't come up with another solution in another place, but I don't know how likely that is. I can't say that it's gonna happen, I don't know.
Because the weeks you're not there, they would be able to use it, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so, and have you already scheduled stuff for those weeks?
What do you mean?
There's like, it's only the home games, so there's,
Yeah, there's a,
So I know in other sports, when weather plays, wreaks havoc on one field, maybe the other team is on a different type of field, or their fields are open. So is the first conversation like, we can't host the game, can you host the game? And then the game is rescheduled, or are sometimes home games shifted to away because of field
Yeah,
availability?
That's
So
possible.
there is a little bit of,
That is
play there.
possible. Very rarely it happens because, again,
somebody else is already.
well, besides the fact they might be playing on grass, but
That's not better than 9.
if I'm playing at 8 o'clock, let's say 8 o'clock over here at Central Street, and then at 1 I have to be in New Hampshire, okay? It works. I have just enough time to end this game and get to New Hampshire. But if the other team is from the south, now you're adding another hour and a half to my drive, which I wouldn't care. None of us would care because we're used to it. It just, there's not enough time. That's what the problem is. It's a logistical
And
nightmare.
there's no way to come to a compromise for just this season. I
Well,
guess is what we were hoping.
But we do have some days that are open, not that, the 9th is gonna work, because,
Most likely
Because
that's not
anyway,
you know, Essex, they're down in Randolph. On the 16th, they are supposed to be home. The 23rd.
They're off. It's
Easter.
They're here, they're not playing, so, no.
On the 4/23,
Can you,
they're playing at Lincoln Park. And then you're back home on the 30th or 7th.
Seventh is gone, seventh is away,
So, yeah.
14th is home, and then the rest of May is
So
open.
there are a couple
So
of
you're talking
slots.
2 days,
in
like the 30th and the 14th, the only 2 days they're home.
Yeah, and where they're scheduled.
Where they're scheduled, the 16th and the other day. So really, those are the only 2 days, correct me if I'm wrong, the only 2 days that we're having issues with, if anything happens. Trying to fill in games those weekends, which just means we can't fill in time those weekends. We're gonna have to work on the other ones. So, you know, you'd have the 23rd, you'd have the 7th,
23rd is Easter.
that's just,
Yeah.
or is that ours?
it's everybody,
Alright, thank you.
I'm just giving you a calendar.
When are your home games, the 23rd, you said?
No, the 16th, the 30th, May 14th, and June 4th, which is after the season.
June 4th is the tryouts.
What time do those start?
What day is that? Is that a weekend? Yes,
Sunday.
Sunday. Typically tryouts on weekends are 9 o'clock until maybe 6 o'clock.
So, I mean, you guys have the weekend of the 23rd, the 7th, and the 21st. Weekends you're already gonna be on them anyway, but at least we have open slots on those 3 days that we can somehow make up some time. Again, they lose 1 day, and they gotta find out how to make up all these games. I don't think it mattered correct me if I'm wrong, if they weren't even playing, it wouldn't matter anyway, because if you lose a day, like this weekend, you're gonna make up 7 games, 8 games, this first weekend, you gotta find a way to make up 8 games here. You're probably gonna have to do the same thing the following weekend, where you have another 8 or 9 games there. So you're gonna find slots for 17 games through the rest of the season.
One field for 2 hours, is that right?
Yeah, and right now, I'm looking at this anyway, just because the way your schedule's packed. So if you have these 2 weeks in here, these first, the second and the ninth, you lose those. You've gotta find out between the 23rd, the 30th, 7th, 14th, and 21st, you gotta find 17 games in that time frame. And a lot of those kids are already playing 1 game that day, so they'll be doing doubleheaders on those days, unless I'm incorrect.
You are correct. You're very, yes.
So I'm just saying, right now, because it's like, based on just on the 2 tops here, though, on the second and the ninth.
Yeah.
You gotta find 17 slots, 18, whatever the number is off the top of my head, looking real quick. In the rest of the week, all these kids have to play doubleheaders, and really, some may have to play, you may have to play doubleheaders twice during that time, because now you're gonna, because they each play a game each of those weekends.
Right.
So, they're each gonna make up 2 games in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weekends. So of the 5 remaining weekends, you need to find games, because for coach and whatever, and room that we would have to have. Doesn't matter with them, I mean, they're gonna take up, to be honest with you, based on what they have, as you just said, the 2 hours in the morning is not gonna make that much of a difference. But you're talking the 23rd, the 7th, and the 21st. You have 3 days that you can pick up 2 hours in the morning for an 8 o'clock game. That's 3 of the games, where the other 14 coming from? There's nothing in the schedule, so,
Where are the other time slots are coming from?
yeah. So I'm saying, if we give up those fields, so that's field 4 for 8 o'clock in the morning on 3 of those days that you're not playing because you're on the road. Okay, that takes care of 3 of the 17, where are the other 14 slots coming from?
Oh, there's the day space. So let me see the home.
So really, the issue isn't with them. They just give us 3 slots open, that's all it is. Correct me, I'm just,
Sounds right.
It's semantics, they give 3 slots open or they only use.
I mean, if they weren't here, they would pick up, they still have 3 slots if they needed to fill it, but they would pick up an extra 3 because they weren't here.
Right.
So you have 6 weekends, but realistically, you're not playing on the 16th, and now you're down at 2. Unless you want to play, the kids play on Easter Sunday.
You're not playing on the 16th.
So they're not playing then, so really down at, now it's only makes up 2 slots. They make that, sorry, this is,
That's how it was me.
no, that was me, I got group
Same
chat
thing.
going with
Ancient
friends
hand.
from college,
Yeah.
and people are
It's a
chirping.
cross-table collusion going on.
So I'm just trying to find out, just looking at this, I'm trying to find out where we're gonna find 14 slots based on what we have on those Sunday, on those remaining 5 Sundays that are gonna fit your time. If we've got them, great, cause somebody tell me, if someone's got an idea, unless we're going later. Because all these games, last game ends at, they're hour and a half games, so 4:30 is your last game, so you're ending at 6. You have to play to 6, well, granted, the weather, depending on the time stuff, you'd be playing a game the last, from 6 to whatever, on those nights. But still, you got 2 fields, 3 fields, 2 fields you can play depending,
Right.
5, 10, there's 10 slots, you're still trying to find 4 more. Maybe if you use one of the other fields, you can possibly pull it in, but that's using everybody, and it's gonna have to fit your schedule, so as much as, I mean, we can't control the initial weather with the 2nd and 9th, I don't know how you get those other 14 in, whether, and that's not to say we have anything else happens. So I don't, really, they're not the issue outside of grabbing these 2 slots. If I'm wrong, please tell me. I'm just looking at this and trying to figure this out.
So me, you just outlined my challenge.
Oh, yeah.
It's a logistical nightmare. And again, it's not nothing.
No, they really don't impact it at all. 2 hours, 2 days.
It might not.
2 hours, 1 day, 2 days. The 2 days that they're gonna be home, the only 2, and it's a 2-hour block. So
They each have 2 home games up?
they have 3, but their 3rd home game is Easter weekend, which they're not playing.
Oh, I see.
So they're only home for, well, they have, technically they're the 2nd too. But I'm not counting the 2nd and 9th at this point, so they have
You have place the weekend?
So no, we have the 16th and 30th, Easter is the 23rd, correct?
no, 16th.
Oh, my bad.
16th,
Yes,
yeah.
it is Easter.
Thursday's my daughter's coming
And you're
home,
home
I'm
on
going to New York
day.
3 days later. So I got these days in my head.
You guys might not be playing Easter morning.
No, with the way it looks.
That may be a stretch.
So
That's
the home games are 16th to 30th.
16th, the 30th, the 14th, and the 4th. So there's only one
And
date.
the
in May.
4th doesn't impact them, they're already doing, well, not
Well,
yet.
maybe
Not
not,
based on
not the
schedule.
season, but the
June
training.
4th.
Yeah, that's right.
And the 14th is May
And you said there's a possibility that you might be able to shift 1 or 2 to 7.
I'm not
That's-
speaking to them, I
You
could,
can
There,
add-
there's
I could make
a
the
request.
suggestion, I could throw that out there.
Or even 7:30 would make it a,
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're off the field at 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
We pick up
I
a
mean,
half an hour.
realistically, they're off the field, like, you're about, it's about an hour and a half, so.
So 9 o'clock, we may pick up an hour. But it's still it's a question of, I understand his schedule, but his schedule is extremely aggressive to try and get all this in. Whether we don't have, I mean, we already know just because at the beginning of the season, we're losing at least this weekend, most likely next. I'm sorry, with this crazy weather, we easily could hit, we could lose another weekend in some place, and I'm just trying to think how that we can do it. Because you've got to cram all these in, you've got 7 weeks to try to put all this together before the next trial season starts. And I just don't see where the time's coming from. We can pick up maybe half.
so what I'm hearing is if we had additional field space someplace nearby,
But we have to have, that's the only way this works. Just to make up the 14 games, he's got, 17 games he's already got to make up.
you know.
So where did you find the additional space?
Central Street. It worked in the past. I like what he's saying, because it's giving me more flexibility there. If you find a 3rd field.
I'm trying to find anything in
I
here
know.
just to see.
Yeah.
So I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
You
Like,
just
you
said you found space
It worked.
outside.
No, Central Street. It worked at Central Street.
No, that already paid $1,200?
I did for April 2nd.
Yeah, where?
Where?
No, he hasn't found it.
No, I did. I paid for it already.
Oh, you found
Yeah,
space,
games.
oh, okay.
Yeah, we are not official turf.
Okay.
But in the past, so again, I like what he's saying because it gives everybody more flexibility if there's an additional field. But in the past, we were able to do the makeups, all of them in Manchester.
I don't know, I'm just looking at the schedule.
No room for error. There's no room for,
This is, I mean, again, kudos to you trying to figure it out, because I'm gonna be doing the exact same thing with New Report over the next 12 weeks. So, I'm trying to run jam 32 games into 8 weekends. But I'm not starting to the end of April. And I'm going through to July 4th. To be honest with you, correct me if I'm wrong, please, I've been saying this all along. You're gonna have an answer by Tuesday? I don't see it unless you can find another space that we can get. We're gonna need it. We're gonna need an answer from you regarding to by Monday night, if possible. One way or the other, just so we can plan. And then from there, we can tell you, you've been in touch. Someone can let you know on what time Tuesday's your
So
meeting.
Tuesday, no, it's not a meeting, but Tuesday at 5 o'clock, you have to have submitted and the change in the game.
Yeah.
So prior to that, you have to talk with the other coach, see if it works for him, and so there's a lot of back and forth there.
I would say, start planning on it now, look at times. See what we get for regarding to alternate locations, see what they come back with, and this is gonna be on the fly for the next 4 days. There'll be emails going back and forth, because it's gonna have to be. It's the only way we can make this work. This doesn't impact you guys at all, you know what you're doing. The money thing, we'll talk about the lines and that stuff, it's not gonna happen until September the earliest anyway. So that's
you're
okay.
saying, start planning as if you have to move the games on artificial turf, and
This is the
then-
second you've already done,
Yes,
so you don't have to make those games up.
correct.
Alright, so now we just eliminated 8 games, so now we're back down to 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All we're looking now is the games on the 9th. Am I correct in that statement?
You are, not all the games will be rescheduled for April 2nd, the 99, because I couldn't find goals, but that's a small thing.
But so, but a majority of them, so maybe we're
Yes,
talking,
the difficult
10
ones.
games now.
Yes,
Alright, so now we've looked at 10 games, we gotta find those up. Granted, weather later on in the season is gonna throw a curve. So now we have 10 games we've gotta make up. We know right now, we can pick up 3 on the weekends that they're not playing. You can pick up 3 of those games, so now you're down to 7. If you do a late game on the 4:30, after the 4:30 to 6 game, you do it from 6 to 6 or 7:30, that all of a sudden, now you picked up 5 more, you got 2 fields for each of the 5 weekends. There's 10 games, there's your number. So if you can cover your second with this other field, it's gonna depend on the 9th. It will work, and if we have to scratch the 9th, we have the time between the 3 days that they're not playing and the 6 to 7:30 slots on the other 2 fields, the second
And the
and fourth.
possibility of them maybe moving up their games.
Yeah.
Time-wise, so that you
You're
can run the
talking,
field.
you're talking them moving up? Yeah. So we've got
In the
alternatives.
meantime, we'll still be looking for another field.
So if the second is out of the equation, Mark's still looking at fields. We've got an alternative plan, because now we have the late games, we have the other days that they're on the field, and possibly if they move them up. So we have alternatives in place. The question now is gonna be whether we can we just need to know how it is. And again, if it pours the 23rd, all bets are off and we can't control it, but that's
Yeah.
nothing we control it.
Yeah.
I'm just looking from now to get you to Tuesday.
is that a movie?
Can I ask one
Yes,
question?
Sure.
So I know club can't play on Saturdays because the kids play town.
Yeah.
Can you guys?
I
Cause
don't
again,
know.
town, we only schedule one field on Saturdays.
What time do you start in the morning on Saturdays?
8,
I don't know
9
the
o'clock's the
answer.
earliest,
There
the
was,
kids
I
get
don't
there
know
at
the
8:30.
answer.
Well,
If-
actually, you know what, ask
If we do have some rainouts, we'll have makeups.
Yeah.
The only time that can.
I'm just saying, if
Right.
they took the that early area on a Saturday instead, how would that really impact you, Terry?
Well, right now, when we do our scheduling, we only schedule for one field.
Hmm.
So we only schedule for one field. Are all your games on Sundays?
Well, Sunday's on 4.
They are, but I'm sure some people are gonna try to reschedule them for Saturday, because again, as you point out, this is a total nightmare. So there will be maybe somebody trying to, you know, reschedule a game Saturday night at 6 o'clock or something.
Huh?
It's possible.
You're referring to the time?
Hmm?
You're
No.
referring, okay.
No, I'm
Alright,
just,
so I think,
so our regular season, we have one game on Saturday, so we use one field.
Yeah, which field is it?
Usually it's the one by the oak tree, so number.
3.
All right, and these guys run, and these guys run 4.
Yeah, they're 4.
They could care less which one.
So I'm just saying,
As long as
all of a sudden
as
now it's like-
ones.
I know Sunday would be better because a lot of guys are trying to do it. If Saturday's an option, that would open up because they're not on the field and then all of a sudden, you're completely all taken care of and we just picked up 3
Yeah,
slots.
because, I mean, we may have makeups,
We
but
still,
at
we
least
still deal with it.
it's less games than what they have.
Right.
I don't wanna speak for them, because it's not my place. I've never seen an over the hill being played other than Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a rule
I
behind
can't
it.
imagine it's a rule, I mean, it's, but.
Just worst case, you find out, we'll go. And if you come back and say, no, there is a rule, or no, we can't do this, no, we can't do that, then fine, then we adjust. But right now, we've gotta come up with some kind of a plan. You're all set, other than we'll talk lines and fields later, I'm not worried, we can't avoid that right now. You're gonna come back, and you're gonna check with Raleigh, and you're gonna check on Saturday.
Yep.
Mark's gonna look at the information to see if there's any other fields we can pull up.
Yeah.
You know, going into the second, you're gonna get your locations. The 9th, we're gonna scrub, and we're gonna use the other dates and work them around at this time.
That works.
Everybody good?
Mhm. Yeah.
Done. Thank you for letting me see this. That's what I was having a problem trying to visualize, and I'm.
You guys know, have an idea of places to call, shoot my brother,
Yeah.
or whatever?
maybe you should be in
So
charge
is
of
Kevin your
season.
brother?
Yes, Kevin's my brother,
So
so.
you see what I'm trying to pull.
You
I
guys
get
try
32
the
teams,
governors,
and now I
like
schedule
George
all
Jumpers might be a
nine per
possibility
report.
too, that's
In
not a
one
bad
field.
idea.
Because I think those
All
like
catch
the
work.
over the hill that we
Not,
did at
not now, we'll
governors.
talk about it later.
It might
Alright,
be.
so I just wanna get this
I
in
know,
writing.
I got confirmation on Pine Grove's too small.
Yeah, yeah,
Essex
caught
is
that.
gonna look at other.
It was worth,
They're
But
gonna
I'll
look
ask,
at
I'll
other
ask
areas
you,
on
why
Saturday.
not Georgetown again? Why
And
not?
there's no way to put field
If I have to guess.
Mark's gonna look at other areas.
I can't hear you.
Probably guess that too.
Sorry, you switched that way.
Well, we're on camera.
It's a
so we
hard,
shouldn't
if
do
I remember
this.
correctly, it's crazy hard. The Georgetown field.
Stefanos is gonna
Very
look
fun
at,
field.
he's got a plan right now, so they're gonna have an alternate location for April 2nd. And we're gonna look at other field times, whether early Sunday or late Sunday at other fields to make up the other games.
Opposite,
Opposite, so the weekends they're not playing,
right.
Yeah.
or a 6 to 7:30 time slot on the other fields.
Okay, your question. Field 3, can that be made into a 120-yard? Can 3 and 4 both be 120-yard?
What's it going for?
Yeah, I think there's a distance between the two goals, and there is a distance, so if somebody takes a shot, doesn't go into the field.
yeah, and Doobie's good about shifting the fields
A
every
little bit for
season.
the penalty box.
Yeah,
But I was thinking when he was talking about lacrosse, about a divider over there, if you put some type of a divider, now you can bring it closer, so you can extend the length. Still not sure about the width. Cause you have those, what are those things?
the low gullies where you have,
Swell.
Well,
yeah,
Even closer to
irrigation.
the gully, you have like the plastic cover.
For, yeah, it's irrigation cover, control irrigation cover.
Yeah, and you have like the gully in between, like between fields 1 and 3. You have that little dip.
And you have to
I always-
maintain the emergency access through the middle too. Down the middle.
I don't think it is o'clock on a Sunday morning.
No, you're down the middle of the field, they have, there's an ambulance lane that I think is probably insurance mandated that has to go down the middle of the field.
I will look into that.
Yeah. And I know, I mean, I presume that's why it's there, they have it marked off and not allowed to park there, it's not.
So they can have access to the field.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
would be-
so with the
Yeah.
ambulance access to the field,
Alright.
so you can't like be throwing equipment across and stuff.
Because when I look at the map, and it's an old one, that's online, it's not a map, it's a photograph. When I look at 3 and 5, they're 3 and 4, they're the same widths.
Yeah.
At least this is where they mark it, it may not be accurate. This is just from the Town of Newbury website, Recreation, 3 and 4, this is how they labeled it out. And I'm wondering if 3 and 4 can, as well as 2, be 120. When I paste it out,
They look pretty close.
the
This one's
distance
quick visual.
between, the distance between 3 and 4 looking at the lines that were there from the fall, if we were to bring them a little bit closer, it'd still be the same width. But they could possibly be a full size, 2 full-size fields,
You're talking about the width or the length?
length.
Length,
They'd be the
his
same.
length isn't the issue, the width
That's
you've
the
been
width.
mentioning, so.
But that width on number 3, I'll go out and see if I can find out where the marker is. And we can talk to Scott.
What do you need to be? You know, width-wise, what do you need to be?
80.
Just,
I mean, I think these are just lines drawn in, not necessarily accurate.
but if you're talking width-wise here to 3 to 4, they look the same. I don't think 2 would fix, 2 looks a little bit narrower comparably, but not by much. I think 2 is probably 70 compared to where the 3, 4
No,
does.
field 2 we can give wide.
Okay.
Field 2 we got 2, it's a full
Okay.
8 by 120.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Is there a way to shift 3 closer to where 5 is going to be?
What Scott's good about trying to maximize the
Yeah.
width, in between fields 1 and 3, you have that little dip where I think the irrigation pipes go.
There's a swell for drainage, yeah.
Yeah,
Which limits you.
yeah, so Scott looks at the drainage and he'll go 10 feet in, because again, you can't, with the throw-ins, they can't go on that dip, cause it's a liability hazard. And then it'll go from the hill, and he'll go 10 feet or like 15 feet because of the hill in, and that's really his width. So that's the two, that's the limitations that he usually goes by. I mean, am I wrong, or is that?
I don't know how he does it, the
Yeah.
measurement, does
It makes sense, because you're saying you gotta be careful of one side, the hill on one side, the valley on
Yeah,
the other.
because the hill, you can't go 10 feet, because if the kid runs, they
Yeah.
need a little bit more room to stop before
Yeah,
the unlevel ground.
yeah, on both sides.
And then you have that dip that he goes inwards.
Kids these days, where's their sense of adventure?
And, yeah.
What had been playing soccer in the street, moving
Go
cars?
tearing down the hill.
All right, from a
Okay.
scheduling and everything else, are you guys good? We still have other work to do, but I just wanna make sure you guys are good from that standpoint. The plan right now is we're again meeting Monday night. Emails will come back, you'll let us know what's going on, Mark's gonna fill you guys in. We have a tentative plan, so you know, the 2nd you already booked for, the 9th, we're gonna use dates around it if we don't get the date. And we'll go from there, we'll just start working days and, just keep communicating with us regarding to scheduling, regarding to, if the 9th doesn't work, or what the days, from the 2nd you can't fill in, what days you work, can you work either the days that they're not playing, if they stay? If they don't, can you use one of those days early to do it, or will the 6 to 7:30 time slot work for these guys and figure out what field works out? Is that okay? Okay.
Is April 8th or 9th, are you guys definitely considering having the fields closed, or is it?
We won't,
Is it
we won't know,
still-
we won't know until
No,
next
I
week.
just didn't know, 'cause.
Just to the fact, it all depends on how bad we get this
What-
weekend
what the
and what happens.
Okay.
As of right now, granted, I'm just looking at AccuWeather.com, but they're saying rain, we're supposed to get hit Tuesday, Wednesday next week, with a possibility of Friday or Saturday, and I'm like,
That's too far out though.
yeah, I mean, you don't know, they told us we were supposed to get 2 feet of snow 2 weeks ago, we got 6 to 8 inches, so you never know, I mean, granted, I would rather have, they have heavy light, I would have liked to have a lot more, the light stuff compared to that 8 inches of slush that was shown,
Yeah, that was rock.
so. All right,
Well, I appreciate you guys all coming out.
And
We're,
your willingness to
you know,
work
we're
with us.
trying to
On
make
short
things
notice.
work for everybody, and again, it's a learning curve.
Thanks, you guys.
and this is what we want, we want you guys invested, we want your input, we wanna make this work because we all wanna be good partners to each other to help make this work for everybody.
Thank you guys for volunteering your time too.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
See ya. Thanks, we'll talk to you soon.
Hold on, are we just gonna quickly go over that last?
We've gotta wrap up the stuff from last month that I didn't cover.
Alright,
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you.
We gotta reapprove all that. And then the minutes from March.
So, just, are there any other leagues, because you mentioned it earlier that there was other leagues?
We've been approached, we've
Yeah.
had to say no,
We just turned them away.
No, I just didn't know,
yeah.
because,
Are you asking the name of the league or?
Mine's at my feet, so I didn't wanna forget it.
There's a women's and other men's league, there's youth. I mean, as you know, it's ideal, it's probably the best fields around.
Yeah, oh, everybody says that. And for me, regarding the town, biggest things, it's that player fee.
Well, I think every
town.
organization looks at it.
If you wanna have a separate conversation regarding, like the expenses and see, you know, but.
We
can
would
We wanna
love
make,
to
so we wanna make this affordable, like I
Yeah,
said,
when that time comes.
the fact that
We
we,
would love to be able to say all youth teams don't have to pay fee, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, we have to, we're not
Oh,
making that.
oh, I understand, with the, I mean, that's why it feels so nice.
Yeah.
well, that also, it's like, I know growing up, I didn't avoid that type of thing, so.
Part of the, you know, I mean, they're Newbury residents as well, and so we're trying to balance not only
Oh, yeah.
youth sports are the number one priority. And, you know, paying users are a priority, but town residents are a priority
Yeah.
as well. We have to be able to accommodate, and that was one of the big reasons we were okay with them, was
Yeah.
because they were town residents.
And they're also on
They weren't
probation,
coming
they're
from
also
Ipswich,
willing
they
to
weren't coming
deal with
from
everything,
Georgetown, they're in Newbury.
all the stipulations.
And we're trying to make the fields more accommodating to all age groups, not just the fields, the whole facility, with other projects that we have going on. So,
I think that's great, you guys.
Trying.
Well,
thank you.
Thank
point
you.
of correction, that we don't get credit for the fields. DPW who does all the work gets the credit, and the previous recreation committee for the work they did.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Okay, we're just gonna do this, and then we're done.
Yes,
I know there was other stuff that you wanted to bring up.
This is,
but-
we got a meeting Monday, so.
The bill schedule, the meeting, the request from Triton Youth Lacrosse. We had motioned, it sounds like we don't need to review that.
anything that we voted on the other day,
We need
we
to-
have to re-vote on
But
it,
it looks like we don't need to revote because we've come to an agreement.
yes, in that regards. But did we pay bills?
We did pay, yep,
Let's just revote what was there, so it's consistent.
Present time.
minutes for meeting with one change.
I make the motion to accept the minutes as, what minutes were they?
They were from the,
From February something,
okay, you seconded it.
yes.
Motion approved. Approve the bill schedule, suspended Gmello until request to restart, probably April 1st. We didn't motion that.
Okay,
Request to keep fields 1 and 2, Triton Youth Soccer had request to switch for a variety of reasons, including Field 2 allowing for regulation size women's field, sorry, this is from Triton Youth Lacrosse. Extra space for warm-up. Motion to keep spring field assignments as is by,
Yeah,
seconded by Pat.
Patrick.
Patrick.
So someone else
So
needs
I'll
to,
sec- I'll second
yeah,
that
we gotta
motion.
change that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then it was just review, general discussion to send out a letter to our users, including the new board, reinforcing rules and resignation. Patrick was supposed to do that. Rules and regulation review, as well as playing field and facility permit review to be completed by May 1st. Due to conflicting information, rules and regulation will be removed from the website until the above reviews are complete. We may need to push that out. I don't know that we're gonna get that done by May 1st.
Which is
Fine.
one?
That's fine.
Reviewing the rules and regs.
No, that's not gonna happen before May first,
So what do we wanna say, July 1st?
June first. It's okay, we have to have all this stuff back up then pretty quick, so
So
maybe, that or we're gonna have to ad hoc meeting.
Well,
in that.
then we could, just in terms of scheduling timeline with that, we can then put that on the agenda for the selectmen's meeting, so they can approve it before the start of the new fiscal year.
So motion to extend current draft online to allow review and revision by June 1st. What's the first meeting?
I'm looking
in
right
June?
now.
It's not
I knew,
June.
I knew you were headed that way. That's scary. June fifth.
June 5th. Motion by Mark, seconded by Mike, motion approved.
Yes.
Fee schedule, more edits to be made, Celine and Mike will discuss with Susan Noyes. I have not gone anywhere.
I haven't either.
to touch that. I was told by Tracy to table it until we're less busy in the summer
Yeah.
and get it ready for the fall.
Okay, so,
Just because we have all this other stuff going
yeah,
on. Canoe launch update by Mark.
all it was he just gave it to us.
Gave us an update, basketball update by me, PowerPoint for the town meeting
which we're gonna have to discuss still.
Yep. Okay, update on signage by Mark and AED for Field House, that was all just briefly
Yes.
discussed, okay? So I'm just gonna tweak this and
Add it to today's minutes almost.
okay, add to, I don't know that I will get this out by Monday.
That's all right, it's okay, I mean, you
Don't
look
worry
at
about
other,
it, we, as long as we have it in there, we don't have to vote on it on next week, in May, we can vote, we do minutes from previous meetings.
So I will, yes, then the only other thing is I need to swing by and see if we have a bill Monday, cause typically we have a monthly bill from Mello.
Yeah,
And then I'll get somebody the bill schedule to vote on
On
Monday
Monday.
night.
so Monday night, right now, the plan is to discuss that, as well as any of the scheduling conflicts we have and what feedback we've gotten from these guys.
And start working on the, rules and regs.
Yes.
I have some notes that I'll email to you guys, just highlighting, I'll highlight the, what changes I'd like to
Proposed, yeah.
see, and I'll scan them and email them to you all, if
Okay.
you wanna print them off and just,
I'll bring them in, I'll bring them in.
you know, basically, I wanna discuss blackout dates, I want firm time limits on application deadlines.
Which
and
would have avoided this in the long run.
And I want, firm dates on seasons, you know,
they're all doable, and that's.
what, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm saying I want, I shouldn't say that.
No,
I
but you-
propose,
Yeah, they're,
but those are
They're
all,
not unrealistic.
right, well, that, so I'm just running that's stuff for you guys to discuss, so I'll put that all in writing. Okay,
and here's some other things we'll add to that
Yeah.
agenda.
you should be able to
Updates.
breeze through most of that.
Well, there's a lot of updates that we should have with the
And
basketball.
who's gonna be the,
Secretary? I'll do it.
I couldn't read my writing if I say it.
No, you have to read mine.
Motion to,
Make a motion to adjourn
At
at,
9:14,
seconded?
second.
all in favor?